Okay, well, previous class we were talking about some laws, strange laws around the world. We check prefixes. Today we're going to learn how to use reported speech. We learned reported speech in previous classes, but we're going to master and really understand all the details about reported speech. All right. So remember, we are on. Where's my book? Oh, okay. We're on the unit. One second. We're on the unit 8. Very well. So here it is, the topic for today's reported speech. Okay, so what is the reported speech? The reported speech is when you repeat what other person said. Okay, like in a conversation, and there's always a person who is the gossiper, someone who says something that other person said. That's a reported speech, and you can report different things. You can report tenses, you can report questions, and you can report orders or commands. Okay, so let's start with the basics. So the review for the reported speech we have in here. Okay, so there it is, right? It's when we tell someone what other person said. That's basically the reported speech. Okay. So we're going to read this chart and then we'll read examples. Please, Itzel, could you help me read this chart and examples too? Itzel, could you please read this chart? Or maybe Cesar, please, can you read the chart?
¿Dónde, teacher?
Yes, this chart, please. We're going to read all this chart.
Use reported speech and reported question to tell others what another person said. In both reported speech and reported questions, the verb usually change things.
Good, excellent. So the reported speech, you see, you change the tenses. When you change tenses, what is a tense? Tense means un tiempo gramatical, okay? So a tense could be, for example, present continuous. So you change it to past continuous. This is a whole chart with the back shift. It changes. This is called back shift. Okay, when you change the time one tense back in the past, we call it back shift. And the back shift is like you see here. We have present simple, so we change it to past simple. And where you can read these examples too. Can you please help me, Cesar? You could read these. You could read these examples, please. Let's read the examples with the direct and reported speech.
Yes, teacher. Direct speech. I want the holiday. Present simple. In reported speech, she told me she wanted a holiday. Past simple.
Yeah. Okay, let's continue.
Bob is annoying me, and Jane said Bob was annoying her. I have eaten too much. He said he had eaten too much. The class has been interesting. Anne said the class had been interesting. I saw her arrive. He told me he had seen her arrive. The team were playing well. John said the team had been playing well. I had arrived before 9 a.m. She said she had arrived before 9 a.m.
Okay, thank you. So here you have these examples, how we change the tenses, right? In English, also in Spanish, we use back shift. There are some situations in which you don't need to use the back shift, but it's very important that you first memorize and you remember the use of back shift. Okay, so yes, it's what I told you, right? You just go one tense back in the past. For example, okay, hold on. Zoom is a little bit different today. Okay, well, I was telling you, this is the sentence, I want a holiday. So you would say in Spanish, like, quiero unas vacaciones. So you repeat what this person said, then you would say, she told me she wanted a holiday. Ella me dijo que quería unas vacaciones. So this is simple present, you change it to past simple. So the idea is the same like in Spanish. When you repeat what other person said, it needs to be a little bit different, okay? So that other people can understand that you are repeating the sentence, okay? Present continuous, past continuous. Present perfect, past perfect. Present perfect continuous, past perfect continuous. You see that we have the past perfect, okay? Past perfect is the limit. You cannot go way back farther in the past. Let's say that the past perfect is the most past way you can go in English. So the past perfect is the limit, and that's why we repeat the past perfect if we have the sentence. So you go with all these sentences one tense back in the past. But if when you arrive to the past perfect, so the sentence changes. Okay, the sentence, sorry, the sentence doesn't change. It remains the same. Okay, you see here on your book that we have the quoted speech, but this is actually the direct speech. Okay, so what could be a sentence that uses the quoted speech or direct speech? Okay, so I would write something, a quote. You know what the meaning of quote? Do you know what quote means?
No, teacher.
Eso no es como que es mucho o demasiado o algo así.
No, quotes in this case means una cita, right? Como una cita de un libro, de un autor, eso es quote. Okay. You can find, for example, on the internet, inspirational quotes, como frases que dijo alguna otra persona. Okay, that's a quote. For example, one quote, our faith cannot be taken away. It's a gift. Okay, so who said this? Nuestro destino no se nos puede quitar, es un don. This was Dante Alighieri. Okay, so you usually use the quoted speech when you mention someone very famous, or when it's an author, something you read from a book, from the newspaper, etc. Okay, but you don't use the quoted speech in more daily and mundane situations. For example, let's say my mom says, I don't know, I will clean the sofa. Okay, I will clean the sofa. Okay, so I cannot repeat this. You know, no solemos decir, mi mamá dijo, limpiaré el sofá. No, we would say, mi mamá dijo que limpiaría el sofá. Okay, va a limpiar el sofá. Okay, so the idea is that that is reported speech. Because if you use quoted speech all the time, then you can use, as you can see in the examples, quoted speech, which is not something that we're going to learn, okay? But the quoted speech is this, right? You said, for example, the one person said, ella dijo. And then, hold on, please. And then you have here. Sorry, Zoom is a little bit different today. Okay, so you have she said. So you need to write here a comma, quotation marks, las comillas, quotation marks, and you close with other quotation marks. Okay? This is quoted speech, but this is not something that you would use in everyday life. Esto no es como natural, al menos que estemos mencionando lo que dijo alguien famoso o una cita de un libro o algo así. Okay? So in this case, we use the reported speech. The reported speech, you don't write the quotation marks. It's a continuous sentence. No se escriben las comillas ni nada. Okay? So you just simply repeat what other person said. Now, okay, so that's the difference with the quoted speech. Okay, so you hear someone said, for example, okay, in simple present, I like dolphins. Okay, well, you could say, so my friend said he liked dolphins. So you see, in this case, we have I like is simple present, but here you say liked in simple past. Okay, so that's what you need to remember. Always change the tense one way back in the past. So you have I like in past, he liked. Why? Because you didn't say this, it was your friend. Okay, you can add, you can write that, but that is an optional word. That means que, como mi amigo dijo que. But in English, it's usually like very, it's taken for granted, como que se da por hecho el that y generalmente no se escribe, es decir, no es necesario escribir that. My friend said that, mi amigo dijo que he liked dolphins. Okay, so that is optional. And you need to write the sentence one tense back in the past. Un tiempo siempre atrás cuando escribamos a reported speech. Okay. So what happens in past? He went to the beach. He went to the beach. Okay. So reported speech. ¿Cómo podríamos reportar esta oración? Repetir esta oración in reported speech. So I would say, he said that and if you have a simple past, so you write here, you can check the chart.
He wanted
He went.
the beach.
Careful, it's not want, is went. So if I have the past simple, like in the example that I show you, we have past simple. So we change past simple to what? Past simple changes to
Past perfect.
Past perfect.
past perfect. Okay. So the sentence, he went to the beach. He said that he had gone to the beach. Yes, you can also say went. I'm going to explain. Sometimes you don't need to use the back shift. But in this case, let's try to learn first how to use the back shift. Okay, so we say he said that he had gone to the beach, right? Él dijo que él había ido a la playa. Okay, él dijo que él había ido. Okay, so in English, in the reported speech, as well as in Spanish, we take one tense back in the past. Okay, there are some other, not only the sentences, not only the statements, there are also the modal verbs Los modal verbs también van a cambiar, algunos no, pero algunos modal verbs sí van a cambiar. Check the examples here. Laura, could you please help me read the examples with back shift, starting with will, please. Will changes to. Will changes to. Can you please read the example? Or I don't know if she can participate. Osvaldo, please help me read the examples with these modal verbs.
Yes, teacher. Okay. I will take you out tonight. He said he would take. Déjame mover la cámara un poquito.
Can you see?
Yes, ya moví la cámara. Entonces, he said he would take me out tonight.
Very well.
I can easily pass the test. She said she could easily pass the test. You must leave immediately. He told me I had to leave immediately. We may go out later. She said she might go out later. You ought to come at 7 p.m. He told me I ought to come at 7 p.m. I should have helped you. He said he should have helped me.
Okay. The same with would and could. So let's see which modal verbs you need to change in backshift. So will changes to would. This is, I told you, it's like in Spanish, fortunately, we have the same way, right? Saldremos esta noche. Él dijo que saldríamos esta noche. Okay. So when you have will, you change it to would. Okay, simply. Can, you change it to could. Must, you change it to had to. Es decir, yo debo, lo cambias a tenía que. Okay. Él, debes irte inmediatamente. Él me dijo que debía o tenía que irme inmediatamente. Okay. May, we change it to might. And all the others, have to, que significa deberías, should, would, and could, these ones don't have any change. So you just write the same. So should, would, could. This rule, this is something that we call, remember, backshift. And what is backshift? Trying to go one tense back in the past. Okay, so this is the first thing we need to understand about reported speech. Reported speech has these rules. When you repeat what other person said, try to use backshift, especially because in formal English and written English, it's the correct thing to do, you know, to use backshift. That's the correct thing to do. Now, in the informal, that's what I'm going to tell you now. In informal English, in the everyday English, overall in the spoken English, you don't use backshift all the time. In fact, you can be more flexible. So sometimes it's not necessary to use, por ejemplo, cuando les pedí que usaran backshift con una oración y lo repitieron nuevamente la oración que está en pasado. Eso está correcto en un inglés hablado y informal, but we're going to try to follow the rules so far so that we can understand these things first. Then we're going to learn in what situations you don't change the tense. So here we have a couple of exercises. We're going to make just 2 or 3 with backshift. Where is it? Okay, so first we're going to work on the exercises. The exercises 3. 5 and 6. Okay. Help me please, Itzel, with number 3. Please read the sentence and then change the sentence to reported speech.
We'll meet at the hot clock.
Okay, in this case, we are going to use the reporting verb is agree. Agree, we agreed. Es como, estuvimos de acuerdo. We, optionally, you can write that. That we.
We met.
Okay, you have will in the original sentence. So what do you write here? Don't worry, check the chart. I send you a picture on WhatsApp.
We were.
We have will. Okay, so will. Check how we change will. How do we change will?
Would.
Would. Yes, good. Entonces lo primero, hay que intentar memorizar los cambios. So yes, we will va a cambiar a would. So we agree that we, you can even write with the contraction, we meet at the old clock. Okay, so the sentence says, nos veremos o nos encontraremos en el reloj viejo. Okay, no sé, una ciudad, un pueblo con un reloj viejo. Estuvimos de acuerdo que nos veríamos, nos encontraríamos en el reloj viejo. Okay, so you see, makes sense. The change in Spanish too. Now, number 5, please. Cesar, help me with number 5.
5? Okay.
Yes.
Tim is hiding under the bed. She admit that. And hiding.
Is hiding.
Timmy
So you just need the past of is.
Timmy was.
So you have
hiding.
present continuous, so the past is past continuous.
Is hiding under the bed.
Okay, very good. Osvaldo, please help me with number 6.
I know who did it. He insists that he knew. He
knew?
He knew who did it.
Who did it? Very well. Exactly. So in this case, is check the sentence. It says, I know who did it. So we have two tenses in one. Okay, those tiempos, right? The first one, you see, it's the I know is simple present, but the next one is simple past. What do we do in this situation? Well, in this situation, you only change the first verb. You don't need to change the second. Okay, so you only say, él dijo que sabía, ¿quién lo hizo? Okay. So yeah, you only change the first one. That's it. Okay. So this is what we did, is to report statements. Okay. You can also report questions. Okay. When you report questions, so cuando repetimos preguntas, report questions. Reported questions. What do we do in this case? Okay, so in reported questions, you also use backshift. También se utiliza backshift, es decir, cambiar el tiempo. But in this case, we have to pay attention if we have a WH question or if we have a yes, no question. Okay, so this is the first thing. We have a WH question or a yes, no question. What is the WH question? What, where, when, who, etc. Okay. Yes, no question is with auxiliary verbs like do, will, did, etc. Okay. So in other words, WH question is an open question. For example, what's your favorite country? Okay. Esa es una pregunta abierta, right? Because the answer can be very different. In this situation, so you would say, he asked me, ask is a verbo preguntar, right? So he asked me what, but pay attention what I do, because here we have the auxiliary verb is. So a very common mistake, be careful, is that you don't use is here. No, so I say, he asked me what is, but you would say what my, in this case, what my favorite country is, cambia a was, okay? He asked me what my favorite country was, okay? So here you have the question, and here you have in reported speech. He asked me what my favorite country was. So a very common mistake is that some put was here. Listen, what was my favorite country? But no, we need to write was to the end of the sentence. And you see that I don't write the question mark. No se pone el signo de pregunta. Why? Because when you report question in reported speech, cuando tú repites una pregunta, entonces esta oración ya no es una pregunta. ¿Okay? Por eso ya no pongo ni un signo de pregunta, ni tampoco la pregunta se estructura como una pregunta, sino como una oración afirmativa. Okay, so that's the idea. So when you report questions, remember, they are not longer questions, no more. Okay, so they are statements. Okay, another question with a yes, no question would be, for example, did you go to the cinema? I don't know, just a random question. Did you go to the cinema? So in reported speech, you would say the same. He asked me, pero aquí vamos a utilizar la palabra if, or if you want more formal, whether. If or whether, ambos quieren decir sí, que es como para decir, él me preguntó sí. Entonces, did you go to the cinema? So if I have the simple past, what do I use in reported speech? If you have simple past, in reported speech, what do you use? How do we change simple past in reported speech? Check your chart. You tell me.
He asked me if I had.
Good. So simple present, you change to past perfect. He asked me if I have gone to the cinema. Okay, very well. Okay, so you see it here, no question mark because it's no longer a question. And that's how you report questions. So here we have a question in the exercise 4. Please, Laura, help me. How will you report the question 4? Let's do number 4. Okay, thank you. Let's see, Itzel, please, number 4. Let's read number 4, and then we use the same but in reported speech.
Where were you on the night of January?
Okay.
He asked me that.
In this case, in the questions, we don't use that. He asked me where
Will
where I
was.
excellent. Well, we're going to check, but could be. Yes, where I was on the night
On the night of January.
of January. Okay. And you see your partner did something good. Your partner did something good. That's, ella no dijo, where was I? Porque ya la pregunta en reported speech ya no se formula como pregunta, sino como una afirmación. So here, where I was. This sentence we could say is correct, but if we are very stick to the grammar, de acuerdo a las reglas que vimos, el pasado simple debe de cambiar a pasado perfecto. Okay, so where I had been. Okay, en donde había estado. ¿Dónde estabas? Me preguntó dónde había estado. Okay, very good. Se puede poner también was, informalmente sí. Okay, but as long as we write something, so you want to be very stick to the grammar. I know it can be confusing because this is what we learn, and then in real life, you don't obey the rules. Okay, después veremos eso para ser más flexibles con el cambio, con backstreet. Okay, well, that's not the only thing you can report. You can also report commands. Okay, let's talk about now reported commands. So commands or orders are things that you repeat or other person said. For example, I don't know, you would say, do, okay, arrive on time or be on time. Be on time. Llega a tiempo. Okay. So you could say, my boss ordered. Mi jefe ordenó, llega a tiempo. Okay. How can I report this? So you would say, you can say, my boss, you can say, told me to be on time. Okay. So in this case, the only thing you do when you report commands, aquí no hay un cambio de tiempo como tal, pero solamente se utiliza el infinitivo. My boss told me to be on time. Me dijo que llegara a tiempo. To be on time. Okay. Now you use told me because told me es como decir me mandó. Now if the person is polite, so you can use also asked me to. Ask me to is like me pidió. Okay, so like in a more polite way. You can also say order me, commanded me. All right. So this is when we report commands. Let's see number 2. That's an example. Please, Cesar, help me with the number 2. We have this one, and let's make the sentence in reported speech.
Yes, pretend you didn't see anything. She recommends
She recommended
He
me
recommended me to
to
pretend
pretend.
didn't see anything. Okay.
Excellent. So she recommended me to pretend. Excellent. Ok, entonces aunque esta oración es una orden, right? Because I'm telling you, do this. Te estoy diciendo, haz esto o no lo hagas. Okay, what happens when it's a negative one? For example, so I could say, don't park here. No estaciones el auto aquí. Okay, so you'd say, the police told me not, so you write not before to, not to park there. Vamos a ver ahorita esto, right? Because we have here, but I can use there, right? Me dijo que no me estacionara allí, right? So you need to be careful sometimes with this. We're going to see how we change the adverbs of place. But tell me, so far, do you have any questions about it? Do you have any questions about the reported speech?
Teacher, tengo una duda con uno que usó ahorita, que ya hemos visto, el de out to, algo así, que es como
Ought to.
debería.
Ajá.
Ought to, se pronuncia, ought to.
Ought to, yes.
Eso sería como equivalente a should o más como must.
It's like should.
Se puede usar como en las mismas ocasiones.
Yeah. I mean, ought to is more formal, ought to es más formal, y ought to también es algo que, por ejemplo, es más para un deber moral, algo que debe hacerse porque es lo correcto. Quizá no porque lo recomiendes porque sea lo más conveniente para la persona, sino porque debe hacer lo que es correcto. For example, you could say, I don't know, you have to tell the police about it. Deberías de decirle a la policía. Okay, why? Because the police should know because they are the authority, right? Because that's the law. Porque esa es la ley, ese es lo correcto que hay que hacer. So ought to is like should, but we could say like these kind of situations no es tanto que sea algo recomendable para la persona, sino porque es algo que puedes confundirse con must, but it's not must, it's like should. Y este reported speech no cambia. Okay?
Okay, teacher, thank you.
Very well. So any other questions? No questions about reported speech?
No, teacher, only practice more.
Yes, we're going to practice. And in order to continue, we're going to check these reporting verbs, okay? So in reported speech, you usually have three important verbs. You have the verb say, you have the verb tell, you have the verb ask. Say, tell, ask. When do we use these reporting verbs? Okay, say es el verbo decir, okay? But the difference with tell, que también tell es contar, pero también se puede traducir como decir, o se utiliza igual que decir. But the difference between say and tell is that say is an intransitive verb, and tell is a transitive verb, okay? So when you use the reported speech, you can say, she said, ella dijo, y dices lo que ella dijo. So with tell, you can tell the person you're talking to, she told me, ella me dijo, she told me, okay? So you cannot say she said me, okay? This is not correct. She said me doesn't exist, okay? So you would say she told me. Se utiliza said, no vamos a mencionar a la persona a la que le estamos contando, más bien utilizaríamos told. She told me, okay? So she said, she told me. Okay, that's the main difference, but actually kind of a lie, because you can say she said to me, y entonces ya sería correcto, pero añadiendo to. Pero esto sería muy formal. She said to me, okay, she told me. That's enough. Okay. Pero así solamente she said me no es correcto. Okay, porque say es un verbo intransitivo, entonces no necesita mencionar a quién se le dijo. Okay. What happens with tell? Tell means contar, pero también quiere decir mandar si se utiliza con infinitivo, ordenar. We also have like this one, she asked me, for example. So ask is for questions, ask es para preguntas, pero también cuando se pide algo de forma amable. Es como pedir. She asked me to. So those are the uses of the three principal reporting verbs. She said, she said, okay, the verbs say, tell, and ask, which are said, told, and asked in past. Okay, so let's see. Okay. So, what are the reporting verbs? The reporting verbs that we use the most. So you see here, okay, we have different reporting verbs. And so not only say and ask or tell, you have more options. So in the first column, we have, in this blue column, we have these verbs: agree, claim, offer, promise, refuse, swear, and threaten. Do you have any questions about the meaning of these verbs? ¿Tienen alguna duda?
La parte, el claim, ¿qué es, teacher?
A claim es afirmar.
Afirma, okay.
Afirmar, yeah, it's like asegurar, right? Y so instead of saying dijo, pueden decir él aseguró, right? In reported speech. Okay, do you know refuse and swear and threaten? Do you know the meaning?
No sé tampoco el de threaten, el último.
Threaten, yes. Threaten means amenazar.
Okay.
Amenazar. Que también se puede utilizar en reported speech. Okay. Well, we move to the next column. In the next column, you have advise, ask, beg, convince, encourage, forbid, invite, order, persuade, recommend, remind, tell, and warn. So do you have any questions about these, any of these verbs?
Yes, beg and forbid.
Beg means rogar, and forbid means prohibir. Okay, so more options for you to use in reported speech. The next column, we have accuse somebody of, admit, apologize to somebody for, blame somebody for, complain about, confess to, deny, insist on, recommend, regret, and suggest. Any questions about these verbs?
Deny, ¿qué es, teacher?
Deny, negar.
Nega, okay.
Okay, very well. So let's see the last one. So we have admit, agree, answer, claim, complain, confess, deny, explain, insist, promise, regret, say, and suggest. So any questions about this?
only regret.
Ajá. Regret means arrepentirse. Yeah, regret, arrepentirse. Any other questions? Okay, so those are options you can use instead of always using say, tell, etc. Okay, very well. So when we don't use backshift, I told you, right, that sometimes it's not necessary to use backshift. So when you repeat what other persons say, you will pay attention, right, if it's something relevant or necessary to change. For example, it's not always necessary, right? If I say, for example, I like lasagna, okay? I like lasagna, so it's something that is always true. Okay, I like lasagna. Let's go to an Italian restaurant. Okay, aquí en este caso, como te estoy invitando a un restaurante, entonces lo que dije anteriormente es principalmente relevante para la situación. Okay, I like lasagna, entonces no es necesario cambiarlo a backshift. It's you only say, he said he likes lasagna. So we will go to an Italian restaurant. Okay. So these things don't change. No es necesario siempre. También puedes decir he liked, dijo que le gustaba. El problema es lo mismo que como suena en español. Si tú dices, dijo que le gustaba, puede quedar la duda, dependiendo del contexto, de si la persona ya no le gusta o si digo, él vive. He lives in Mexico. He said he lived in Mexico. Él dijo que vivía en México. Entonces, ¿ya no vive? All right. Entonces, esa es la situación con reported speech. Cuando está en presente simple, hay veces en las que no es necesario cambiar el tiempo. Okay, in these kind of situations. Here we have another example. It says, I go to the gym next to your house. Jenny told me, fíjense cómo no cambió al pasado, simplemente lo dejó en presente. Jenny told me that she goes to the gym next to my house. Eso es principalmente importante porque más adelante digo, I'm thinking about going with her. So this is relevant. So it's not necessary to change it to the past. Porque a lo mejor si digo, dijo que ella iba al gimnasio, pero ya no. Entonces puede quedar la confusión si utilizamos siempre backshift, sin analizar un poquito más la oración, podemos causar una confusión. So that's what we need to be careful when you work with these tenses. Okay, the next one, you see, I'm working in Italy for the next 6 months. Me dijo que él está trabajando en Italia. No decimos que él estaba, porque podría darse a entender que esos 6 meses ya pasaron. Okay, it depends on the situation. Si después de esto ya han pasado pues mucho tiempo, más de 6 meses, so maybe you can use the past. He told me he was working because he's not working in Italy anymore. I've broken my arm. Algo reciente también, ¿no? Me dijo que ella se ha roto el brazo. Algo que ha pasado de forma reciente. So she won't be at work this week. Okay. So any questions? It's not always necessary to use the backshift in reported speech. Any questions? Check out now, finally, what happens with demonstratives. The demonstratives are 4 words. This, that, these, those. Son 4 palabras. This, that, these, those. Esos son los demostrativos. So what happens in this situation? You don't always use them in the same way. Pay attention to this example. Imagine that your friend, Anna, she says, this is my house. Okay, so Anna invited you to her house. So that's why she says, this is my house. Ahora tú repites esta oración a otra persona, que es repetir lo que dijo Ana. Bueno, en este caso es he, pero bueno, she said, y no confundan that, por cierto, that has two meanings according to the context, right? That can mean que siempre es opcional, el que en inglés. He said that, ¿ok? Pero that también puede significar un demostrativo, es decir, eso o aquello. So you can write like 2 times. Se podría escribir 2 veces. Por ejemplo, she said that. Ella dijo que esa o aquella era su casa. ¿Okay? Incluso no es necesario cambiar a was. You can write, she said that is her house, porque pues todavía es su casa, no ha dejado de ser su casa. Entonces, el cambiar el is por was también sería opcional. It's like, but in very formal English, en inglés muy formal o en inglés escrito, intentaremos como utilizar siempre action. Ya en el inglés conversacional no importa mucho. ¿Ok? She said that is her house. Entonces, bueno, puedo eliminar este that porque es mucho, son 2 that's, right? She said that is her house. Why? Because if you repeat the sentence and you are not in her house, estás en un lugar distinto a la casa de ella, pues este this ya no aplica. Cuando dices esto es porque es algo cercano, right? Remember that this is something singular close to you. That is something singular that is far away. And these is for plural for something that is close to you, and those is plural for something that is far away from you. So if you use this and it's not this, so it's confusing. Por eso cambiamos this y utilizamos that. Lo mismo aquí, ¿no? For example, we like it here. Where is here? ¿Dónde es aquí? Pues quizá no tengamos contexto. Imaginemos que es Acapulco. Okay? So we like it here in Acapulco. But if you are not in Acapulco, when you report the sentence, so you say, she told me they like it there because we are no longer in Acapulco. We are back in Mexico City. We are back in Monterrey, etc. Okay? So you be careful when you use the different words in reported speech so that the sentence makes sense. Aquí no hay como que una regla, simplemente que lo que digamos al repetir la oración tenga sentido para evitar confusión. So do you have any questions about this, guys? No questions? Okay. So we will practice more this for the next class, but that's basically the whole explanation. So thank you so much and see you. Take care. Goodbye.
Bye.